YouTube? This is Vargas from the Vargas Vault, sharing with you guys a much delayed comic book pickup video. I just haven't had a chance to go pick up the comic books, or quite honestly the money to afford picking up all the comic books. Until recently, I was able to save up enough money, or at least pay off part of the credit card debt so I could, stick charge there to complement the cash, and I was able to retrieve most of the comic books that were waiting for me at the comic shop. Unfortunately, I had to leave behind the Spider-Man books because Spider-Man 25 came out, and that thing is $10, which is obscene. Honestly, Marvel, what the fudge? Why are you doing that? Honestly, $10 for a comic book that's not that many pages. At least DC, when they released a $9 comic book for Green Lantern, Jeff Johns' last issue, it was kind of a soft cover, but $10 for something that's basically just a slightly thicker comic book, it's way too much. I'm still going to pick it up, but I didn't have enough money to buy it right now, so I left that in my file. But this is what I was able to take out of my file. So I'm going to share with you guys. So let's get started. We have Action Comics 975, the anniversary issue. It's a slightly oversized issue, but that's what I love about DC right now. They are keeping their books at a reasonable price. This one's only $1 more expensive because it has a bit more of content. And this is continuing, this is part 2 of the Superman Reborn storyline, where you have the other human Clark Kent that's causing chaos and has abducted John. And this book came out a while ago, so I'm not going to spoil anything if I reveal that the human Clark Kent turns out is Mr. Mxyzptlk. Mr. Mxyzptlk was a prisoner of Mr. Oz, but he was able to escape, and now he's mad at Superman because he didn't come and rescue him. Because in his mind they're best buddies, but he was always more of an annoyance. Honestly, I missed Mr. Mxyzptlk. He didn't appear in the New 52 Superman. I know he was briefly mentioned in an issue of Action Comics, but yeah, it's weird. He tends to be an annoying character, but at the same time, he was kind of missed. So I'm glad that they brought Mr. Mxyzptlk back to the DC world. So yeah, he's the one. He's human Clark Kent and responsible for erasing John, but he's not really erased. He just took him out of the picture. Story continues in part 3. Where Mr. Mxyzptlk is fighting against Dad Superman and Mom Lois. But through a quirk of energy, the New 52 Superman and Lois Lane are back, represented by red energy, and DC has done this for years and years, where they have red and blue versions of Superman. So Dad Superman is blue and New 52 is red, and they change colors before coming together in Action Comics 976, where New 52 Superman and Super Dad get fused into a single entity, and the basically just once again rebooted the whole universe. They fused elements from New 52 with pre-Flashpoint, so now you have a new timeline. Again, the universe was reset in New 52 after Flashpoint, and now it has been revealed that in Flashpoint, someone took advantage of Flashpoint. The theory is that it's Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, and to weaken the character, so he stole time from their lives, but this resets that yet again, so elements of New 52 have been fused with elements of pre-Flashpoint, and I'm hoping, because it hasn't really gone that deep into it, that they keep Super Dad, because I like Super Dad. Super Dad was honestly more likable than New 52 Superman. Like I said, I grew up with pre-Flashpoint Superman. That's my Superman, and I was happy to see him back. and I hope he sticks around. So in Action Comics 977, they kind of try to explain what the hell everything happened. I love the cover by Adam. I'm sorry, it's Andy Kubert. For a moment I thought it was Adam, but it's Andy Kubert doing the cover for this Superman, and they're basically giving people a rundown of this new timeline that has been established. And in Superman 20, they're still dealing with that, but also with a neighbor that's screwing around. And at the end of the issue, that's a nice cameo by Batman. And at the end of the issue, Batman is abducted by this bizarre neighbor. So things are not looking good. And we have Batman 19 continuing the I Am Bane storyline. Bane is trying to get revenge on Batman, and Batman, having been beat up, basically convinces Bane to follow him to Arkham, and all the bad guys are trying to fight Bane. So, as one would expect, Bane beats the hell out of all the Arkham inmates. Notable thing is that they mention Hush again, so I thought it was deleted in the New 52, but he's back, and yeah. So, and the whole thing concludes in Batman 20, where Bane still is trying to destroy Batman. It's good to see Bane back to his own self. I have an issue with him falling back on the Venom thing. After he beat his Venom addiction, Bane became a more interesting character. But he's back to being a monster, which is cool. And the way this ends is kind of anticlimactic. I mean, Bane mops the floor with Batman, and Batman says, "You forget who I am. I'm Batman." And then just headbutts him, and that knocks Bane out. I'm like, okay, that was kind of anticlimactic, but it's still a great story, great artwork. I am digging this new Batman creative team. Then we have the surprise crossover Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adventure, once again uniting the animated Batman with the current animated Turtles, this time with good result. I'm liking this series a lot, so more Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, please. Then we have Justice League and the Power Rangers. This has actually been surprising. It's been surprisingly good. Last issue, Lord Zed and Brainiac unleashed a bunch of monsters, and while in this issue, Brainiac has tapped and hacked the Power Rangers teleportation thing, so Brainiac and Lord Zed have returned to the Power Rangers universe, leaving the Power Rangers stranded without any of their swords or transformation things. So, not looking good for the Power Rangers, but this has been a surprising crossover. It's been really, really good. Star Wars issue 30, still picking up Star Wars. The only Star Wars book I'm picking up, I'm not picking up the movie adaptations that they're releasing. I'm not picking up the Dr. Aphra story. I don't think I'm going to pick up the re-release of Darth Vader. On principle, mostly because they should have not canceled the first series. But yeah, I'm still picking up Star Wars because I'm definitely liking the writing by Aaron, and La Roca is doing the artwork again, so he's still doing awesome work on Star Wars. Then we have Simpsons Comics 238, because I love The Simpsons. Then we have the conclusion to He-Man and the Thundercats crossover. This was also a lot of fun. The artwork, not a big fan of the artwork, but a good storyline uniting the Thundercats with He-Man, and it had Monra and Skeletor fusing into a single being to wreak havoc. It was a good story, but again, not a big fan of the artwork. And we have Star Wars Darth Maul. Visually, I love the look of Darth Maul. I remember being so hyped for him when he was revealed in that trailer. But Darth Maul has had a notoriously bad run. He got taken out like a wimp in Episode 1. And he came back in Clone Wars, and he was badass there. Came back in Rebels, but recently, after hyping it up too much, Darth Maul met again with Obi-Wan, and things didn't go that well. But Marvel has released this prequel to Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, focusing on the badass Darth Maul. So this is cool to me. Then we have Justice League issue 17 and Justice League issue 18 with the Timeless, with these time traveling beings that are trying to wipe out the Justice League and take over the world, because of course it's not that good, unfortunately. Then I was gonna drop. I actually did drop Hellblazer, but the comic book shop saved me the last copy of Hellblazer 7. So I was like, well, 7's a nice number for me. I'll pick this one up. I'm dropping Hellblazer. I was only picking up Hellblazer because Swamp Thing was on it, but now he's gone, so I dropped Hellblazer. Picked up Old Man Logan issue 19. Logan is trying to return to the Badlands because he had a telepathic vision of the Hulk Jr. going evil and becoming the Emperor of the Wasteland. So Logan is desperate to try to get back. So he is trying to organize a prison break to release a mystical guy that will hopefully send him back to the Badlands. He goes with everyone, and everyone tells him it's a bad idea, that he shouldn't do it, but Logan, being Logan, does it anyway, and he's trying to break out this guy and has a run-in with Miles Morales, the Spider-Man, which continues in issue 20. Now, in issue 21, in issue 20, he's successful in releasing the guy that does send him, but of course he screws Wolverine over, and what he actually does is that he sends his soul throughout Wolverine's life. So in this issue, you find Wolverine, in his war days, and at the end of the issue, he is in his encounter with the Hulk. So this is going to run until issue 24, where Old Man Logan is basically reliving parts of his life. So yeah, I know this is up to 24 when the creative team leaves, but I don't know if they're going to cancel Old Man Logan, and God's sake, I hope not. Reboot, cancel Old Man Logan, and then re-release a new exciting #1, which would suck. Then we got All New Wolverine issue 18, where Laura is trying to defeat this lady from the Weapon X program that is trying to take control over her, but she is able to defeat her, and everything is hunky-dory. And after Inhumans vs. X-Men, Marvel is releasing this Resurrection event where they're giving a fresh look into the mutants, and X-23 has a new costume based on Wolverine's Uncanny X-Force look. Same writer, but different storyline. So yeah, I like the look. I like the costume. And a friend of work gave this to me. This is a X-Men Archives featuring Legion. I believe this is the second issue. Let's see. Yeah, second issue. The Marvel released these X-Men Archive books. I think the first one was with Strife, and he would just... It's basically just a book with a brief history on the characters, and this one focuses on Legion. He had it there, and he said he doesn't collect comic books. He just had it there because another friend of his gave it to him, so he passed it on to me. So of course I accepted, and I still haven't seen the Legion TV show. I've heard from one person that it's really good, so I might check it out. But yeah, Legion. Then picked up some True Believers. These True Believer $1 comic books are great because they're reprints of important key Marvel issues. So I actually have them out of order. I picked up last time the Wolverine reprint of the Incredible Hulk 182-81, which had Wolverine's first full appearance. And now, after the Inhumans vs. X-Men thing, they released a couple of X-Men True Believer books. This is X-Men #1, the very first introduction to the Marvel Mutants. The original team of Cyclops, Iceman, Jean Grey, Beast, and Angel against Magneto. with Stan Lee and I think Kirby doing the artwork. And I'm never going to own an original Uncanny X-Men #1. And I've seen a couple of the Marvel reprints, the ones that have a silver thing, go for a pretty penny. So for $1, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy a reprint of a story that I've wanted to read for a long time, but honestly can't afford. So $1 for X-Men #1, and then $1 for giant-sized X-Men, which also I have never seen. $1, and yeah, this is the first appearance of the new X-Men team, which had Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Thunderbird, and Nightcrawler, and Banshee's not there, but Banshee was also part of that team, where they go against Krakoa, the Living Island, to save the original X-Men team. So a very, very key issue, especially to me, because this is the one that has Wolverine as part of the X-Men, and Wolverine's my #1 favorite Marvel character. So yeah, a reprint of Giant Size X-Men #1 for $1. Yes, sir. Here, take my money. Thank you so much for this reprint, Marvel. Picked up the last issue of Inhumans vs. X-Men, which has the final battle. And of course, it is revealed that Emma Frost is responsible for all of this because she's pissed off that the Inhumans and their Terrigen Mist caused the death of Cyclops. But everyone now knows this, and everyone turns on the White Queen, turning her back into an evil person. And her endgame is releasing a bunch of Sentinels that target Inhumans instead of mutants. So it was a good ending. Resets a whole bunch of stuff, but overall a good crossover. Better than the freaking Monsters Unleashed thing. Then we have X-Men Prime. Following the events of X-Men versus the Inhumans versus X-Men, the X-Men are trying to build the pieces back together, and this sets up a bunch of things. It sets up X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue. X-Men Gold is basically the Extraordinary X-Men. X-Men Blue is the all-new X-Men, which are the time-displaced X-Men. And they're going to release another Weapon X. They're going to release another Generation X. I haven't read anything on Uncanny X-Men, so I'm guessing that's canceled. But basically, this would be your jumping on point to the X-Men. They conclude and cancel Extraordinary X-Men with issue 20. The X-Men and the Xavier School for Higher Learning. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's the Xavier or the Jean Grey School. Because there were two schools, and now I don't know. I think it's actually it says right there. It's the Jean Grey School that was in limbo, and they are, since they took care of the Terrigen Mist, mutants have another shot at living, so they leave limbo and go back home. And in the last issue of Uncanny X-Men, we have Psylocke going after Magneto because Magneto went back to his evil ways, tried to kill the Inhumans, and Psylocke told him that if that ever happened, she would come and kill him. So, yeah. Last issue of Uncanny X-Men, and I haven't read, like I said, anything on the whole thing. And this is X-Men Gold. This is a return to the giant-sized X-Men kind of book, because we have Storm, Old Man Logan, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Marvel Girl, who's Rachel Summers, and Kitty Pryde. So, with the exception of Banshee and Thunderbird, it's the classic and, by all accounts, the favorite X-Men lineup ever. I have heard that this issue has become controversial and is fetching a pretty penny because the artist hid some political, religious things from his culture, and those nitpicky people that are always hunting down things to nitpick about saw this, and they're like, oh, you can't have this in the comic book, so they fired his ass and had to rework issue 2. So this is fetching a pretty penny. I didn't even know about this. When I went to pick up the comic books, the cashier explained to me that this book is going up and why it's going up, so the explanation I gave is the explanation I got. But again, I'm not, I don't care about value. I pick up comic books to read them, to enjoy them, so honestly, I don't this is going to sound weird, but I don't care about the controversy, and I'm still going to read it and reread it and read it one more time, because I don't care about monetary value on comic books. And we have Wonder Woman issue 18, issue 19, and issue 20, which is still jumping from the past and the present, before eventually I'm hoping everything comes together into one cohesive storyline. I have read that Greg Rucka is leaving the Wonder Woman title after his storyline concludes, so I'm hoping it concludes in a good manner, because while I haven't agreed with the whole jumping from the past to the present, to the past, to the present, to the past, to the present, the storyline has been interesting, the artwork has been good, so yeah. I'll give Wonder Woman up until Rucka concludes this, and then I'll drop Wonder Woman. So yeah, that was the pickup video. Lots of good reading, lots and lots and lots of good reading. If you can, definitely pick up the True Believer $1 books. Those are always good, and you get to read some classic Marvel. And you know, I sound like a broken record every time I recommend stuff, because I always fall back to Batman. Batman is always my recommended title, because it's just solid writing and artwork and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna recommend Batman, especially the I Am Bane storyline. The next storyline is gonna be the Button in DC Universe Rebirth. It's revealed and it's hinted that the Watchmen are responsible for the whole new timeline, and a common theory is that Mr. Oz is Ozymandias, and that Mr. Manhattan is the big bad guy. So we'll see. But in the Batcave, the classic Watchmen Button, the smiley face with a drop of blood, is found, and that's going to have big events. And apparently they're going to revisit Flashpoint. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, and it's going to come with a cool 3D looking cover, which I hope to get. It's going to cross over with Flash, and I don't collect Flash, but oh well. I'm going to miss out on that. So yeah, read Batman, look forward to the Button, and the Old Man Logan storyline. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and until I see you all again, this is Vargas from the Vargas Vault, thanking you and signing out.